Hey, what's up guys? It's C-Works. I'm here today to give you some tips and tricks for iRacing endurance races. Now this can go for the shorter 2.5 hour, the 6 hour, the VRS Endurance 3 hours, and most of all, the special events. Especially with the Sebring 12 hour coming up this weekend, I figured it'd be a good time to put out some of my advice and some things that we've learned as a team at Works Sim Racing. We started out just before the Daytona 24. Daytona 24 was our debut endurance race. Like just before that, we might have done a 2.5 hour or a handful of them. But aside from that, I mean, that was our first true test to go endurance racing. And since then, we've done, we've done the Daytona 24, we did the Daytona 500, we did the Bathurst 12 hour. We've mixed in some other VRS 3 hours and some 2.5 hours, and now we have the Sebring 12 hour coming up this weekend. So I figured it'd be a great time to get this video out and hopefully help some people out that are maybe just getting into endurance racing or just looking for some more help to improve their results and strategy and whatever else. So without further ado, let's get right into the video, see if I can help you out some, and if I do, don't forget to like the video and comment what I helped you out with. Thanks for watching. Let's get right to it. To start out, I'm going to do more of an obvious one just to get it out of the way. Make sure you take the time to choose the right car for you. If this is a GT3 only race, such as the Fuji 8 hour or something of the sort, be sure to go to the forums, go to the special events category, and just check out, the timing, the schedule, the balance of production for that event, and see kind of what cars have changed for this specific race. If it's a special event, there will always be a balance of performance, and what that is they're trying to make all of the cars as balanced as possible so you can kind of hop in anything and go race it and be competitive, which is great and all, but there always seems to be a couple cars that stick out. With that said, do yourself the justice to go look at the balance of performance, kind of see what you think the car is going to be, test them out, take your time on it, and don't just choose the best, fastest car all the time. Weigh out all your options, weigh out fuel load and obviously pace is a part of it, but you really want to go into a test drive or into an endurance server and run some long stints and see what the tire fall off is like and all these other things that go into it on top of just going fast for one lap. That's the biggest thing I can recommend. For example, for the Bathurst 12 hour, we chose the BMW, but the Porsche was way faster for one lap speed. We went with the BMW strictly because it was more comfortable. We felt we could really manage the fuel well while going a good pace around the track. So yeah, do yourself a favor. Don't just drive what everybody else is driving. Don't just drive the fastest car. Pick what's good for you, what's good for your team, and what you think you can make it to the end with. That's the most important thing. Now here's one that might be a little bit, I don't know if it's super useful, but it definitely helps. Make a rough stint schedule for your team. Sit down for 10 minutes, open up Google Sheets or whatever, Excel, whatever it is, type in all, every hour on the left column, and then decide, if you're gonna do double stints, if you're gonna do triples, if you're gonna do singles, and just kind of get a rough schedule, especially the 12 and 24 hour events. It definitely helps to have some planning. If you're someone like me who's got a family and kids and a wife at home, it helps to kind of know that way when you're away from the computer, you kind of know when you need to be back, and you can plan ahead that way. So I recommend it just because, man, I sound old right now, but I recommend it just because it's helped me plan things with my wife. These are long events. And with our two kids, it leaves a lot on her to do while I'm down here racing. So do yourself a favor, make yourself a rough schedule. Obviously, it's not going to pan out exactly, but you kind of know the order of who's driving, even if the times don't line up exactly. I would recommend it. It's helped us out. I don't know if it'll help you, but you can at least give it a shot. I think it's it's nice to kind of have an idea of what hours of the night you're going to be driving. You know, you could set your alarms on your phone to wake up, or however you guys work it out, but it's definitely helped. I recommend it. Give it a shot. All right, now it's number 3. Use a fuel calculator. This has helped us a ton. I don't know why in the past we never did this, but you can use a software such as iOverlay, which is completely free, or some of the paid options like Race Labs or Caps as well. I'm sure there's several more, but choose the one that best fits for you. At the moment, me and the team are using iOverlay. It's super easy, it looks nice, it's free. But what it does is you can have this little box on your screen that shows your average fuel usage per lap. It shows your average over the last 10 laps. It kind of gives you some options for what you want to show inside of the fuel calculator itself. It shows you the refuel amount, and it shows the amount of laps left in your tank. My recommendation with this is go download it. For example, go download iOverlay, go into a endurance practice server, do some race pace laps, and see what kind of fuel usage you're burning, and write that down or just remember it. And then go do some lift and coast. Try to save some fuel. See what usage you can get down to without going super slow. You know, lift and coast is a big thing for saving fuel. What it is if you're braking at the 100 and you're letting off the gas just before the 100, basically let off the gas earlier, coast into your braking point, and then push your braking point back some. So it gives you that space where you're kind of just maintaining your speed, but you're not using more fuel at the same time. Anyway, the fuel calculator has been huge for us. Obviously, while you're in the race, it keeps you engaged with what's going on, where you're at with fuel, how soon your pit stops are going to be. So I highly recommend that. And there's several options, like I said, for the content within the fuel calculator. iOverlay even added recently an option to show, the wet weather, if it's dry, if it's lightly wet, or if it's extremely wet type of thing. So check it out. That's really helped us out. You could size it however you want. You could put it wherever you want on your screen. Super easy to use. I have another video on that showing you guys kind of the basics of iOverlay. So if you want to check that out, feel free. Now, the next thing, always prioritize, survival over speed. Take your time. If you're doing the Sebring 12 hour this weekend, you have 12 hours to figure out how to get around the cars in front of you. Especially in lower SOFs, the chance of death rate in those races for the cars in front are way higher than a normal official race. You're racing for 12 hours. Not everybody's going to survive. So if you can make it through the first half without any big problems, you're on your way to securing at least a decent result. Maybe not exactly what you want, but at least something you can hang your hat on. Along with that, leading up to the race, you want to practice your race pace laps. Don't just practice your sprint laps for qualifying. You could qualify 20th and still come out on top. It's an endurance race for a reason. This isn't a 15-minute GT3 sprint. It's an endurance race. You got to make it to the end before anything else. So if you could just practice some race pace and really just find your lap that you could do every single time without having any big moments, without getting off tracks. If you could figure that out, the speed will come. And as the fuel load burns out of the car, that lap's only going to get quicker. So do yourself a favor, throw a full tank of fuel in that puppy, whatever car it is, and go practice some race paced laps. A little bit of lift and coast, and just find all your braking points, make sure they're dialed in, and then try to hit them every single lap moving forward. Okay, on to the next one. Now, this is one of the big ones if you are doing a multi-class race, such as the Sebring 12 hour coming up this weekend, or the Daytona 24, or whatever it may be. If you're doing a multi-class endurance race, there's going to be traffic. Everybody's favorite thing is traffic. Oh, traffic caused me to go off track. Oh, the slow GT3 car caused me to do this. Now, we get it. Things get heated in the moment when you're racing. but you got to be patient. The more enemies you make with the slower cars, the worse it's going to be for you. I am so serious about this. It takes one whole moment from you or your teammate or whoever, potentially ruin your entire race. Now, when you're getting through traffic, be smart about it. If you're catching a GT3 coming into a corner, maybe just check up a little earlier. That way you can pass them on the next straight instead of being up their bumper going through the apex. Things like that. Just make friends. Don't make enemies in these endurance races. They're long races. The last thing you want to do is get roadblocked and taken out by traffic. That's the worst feeling. Even in the 45-minute IMSA races, there is nothing worse than that. So do yourself a favor, be patient, take your time, and get through the pack methodically, and be smart. Just be smart, be clean. And honestly, what we've done in the past is if we know we're coming up on a pack of slower cars, we'll have our teammates that are out of the car spectating DM the team of the slower car and basically just say, hey, can we get through? You know, we're in a battle, yada, yada, yada. So do yourself a favor, make friends, not enemies. Anyway, that's it for me. That's what I got for you in this video. Be sure to tell me if I helped you out at all down in the comments section below. I'll also leave the link to iOverlay and some of the other things I talked about in the video in the description below. So if you could please like and sub, comment, blah, blah, blah. Appreciate it. See you in the next one.